everyone, thank you for watching another video. Please subscribe to keep the channel growing and to get access to our latest videos as they're released. In this video, we're going to show you how to remove and replace the upper control arm on your first generation Nissan Titan, years 2004 to 2015. To begin, we're going to remove this cotter pin so we can get access to the nut. Bend the two prongs straight and using a pair of pliers, we're using needle nose, pull the cotter pin out and set it to the side. Next, we have to remove the nut connected to the ball joint. Some say to use a 21mm socket, but as you see, that doesn't fit our application, so we'll be using a 7/8 socket to loosen the nut. We don't want to completely remove it, rather we just want to loosen the nut until it's at the end of the bolt. Now we have to get the ball joint separated from the spindle. Using a hammer or a small sledgehammer, give the knuckle some taps to get movement and separation. It's going to take a bit of time and patience before the knuckle breaks loose. Eventually, it will break loose and separate just like that. Now we're free to work on the alignment bolts that hold the control arm in place. Using a 17mm socket on the bolt side, which is the right side if you're facing it, break the bolt loose. You're likely going to need a breaker bar for leverage. As always, PB Blaster will be your friend and help in this case. Using a 3/4 socket on the nut and your 17mm socket on the bolt, loosen the nut from the alignment bolt. On the right side of the control arm, we'll do the same thing. You see the 3/4 socket on the nut, which is the left side, and you'll remember we used a 17mm socket on the bolt. What you'll find is that it's impossible to fit a socket on the bolt because of the lines, so instead we'll use an 11/16 wrench to hold the bolt. With the alignment bolts loosened, let's remove the nut connecting the ball joint and spindle. Set the spindle to the side, and out of an abundance of caution, we'll tie it off so it does not move. Be aware of your brake lines and the ABS line, as you don't want those to be damaged as you move the spindle. Better to be safe than sorry. Now completely remove the nut from the alignment bolt and remove the bolt itself. We'll do the same to the other side as well. With both of the bolts removed, simply lift the upper control arm up and out. We'll be installing a new control arm from Mevitech, and this one in particular is part of their Supreme brand. It comes with all of the hardware you need to get the job done. This specific control arm is not adjustable, and it wouldn't be suitable for lifted vehicles. The control arm comes pre-greased. However, it does have a grease fitting included should you need to add grease at any time. You see it here along with the cotter pin. Have a look at the new part and compare it to the old part that we just removed. Look at the busted rubber here. There's no grease left in there, making it essential that this part be replaced. Take your new control arm and reinsert it to align with the holes for the alignment bolts. Take your alignment bolts and slide it through the new upper control arm. It may take some maneuvering to get the bolt to clear. Do the same thing on the other side. Again, some maneuvering will be required, but the bolt will slip right through the new control arm. Now we can reinstall the nut on the alignment bolt. It's important not to tighten these all the way, since we need to allow some movement so that the ball joint can be reconnected to the spindle. Hand tightening for now will be just fine. Don't over tighten. Notice that we still have a lot of movement for the control arm. Now we can untie our spindle and you'll be able to see it fit perfectly and properly on the ball joint, just like that. Let's remove the cover and reattach the knuckle properly. Again, it will take some maneuvering, but the bolt will slide right in. We can now tighten the nut. With the spindle reattached, let's go ahead and tighten down the nuts on the alignment bolts. The torque specs is 125 foot-pounds. Remember to use a 3/4 socket on the nut and a 17mm socket on the bolt. Tighten the right side as well, remembering to use an 11/16 wrench on the bolt to give yourself some more room to operate. Now tighten the nut for your ball joint using the 7/8 socket. Reinstall the cotter pin and your job is done. A quick check to make sure everything is in place. We've got our Zerk installed, the nuts and bolts are tight on both the right and left side, everything is secure. That's all it takes to change the upper control arm on your Nissan Titan. If you found the video useful, please subscribe and keep the channel growing. The more the channel grows, the more we'll be able to produce great content with great parts from all of our partners.